And I guess we are live again. Who are you and what brings you to JFall?
Oh, again?
Sure.
Yeah, my name is Gerrit Grunwald. I'm working for Azul and I love JFall.
And you love talking about Java.
I love Java, yeah, and sometimes talk about it too.
Um, what I want to ask you, I wrote a blog post about how Java 8 can kill your company because it's a ticking time bomb. It's outdated, it's a long time ago. But actually, not many people are aware about security issues with an old Java. And that's one of your talks that you give.
It's true. And to me, it was also unknown until I created the session. And the problem is that most of you probably know when you download an update, right? You see this security advisories. That means that you always get a list of CVEs that have been fixed with this update, but people don't really read it. So I took the time and then created a chart, and this was for JDK 17, right? Just to say, if you start with JDK 17 general availability, the first version, up to 17.011, then you pile up around 70 CVEs. And that means issues, security, vulnerability issues that are open if you don't update your JDK. And if you just use JDK 8 and you stick to the last free available version, I'm not sure about the number, 252 or something. I think it's more than 180 or even more CVEs that are open. That means you provide your application with a JDK or JRE, which has so many open CVEs, you open all the doors, right? It's really dangerous from a security point of view. So
a CVE, what is it? It is a known issue which has a specific problem?
Yeah, so a CVE is a common vulnerability and enumeration. That's what it's called. And the idea behind it is that someone figures out a way to, let's say, it's not even how to hack something, a vulnerability, right, in the JDK, for example, or in whatever software you like. Doesn't mean it was hacked yet. Harm to some piece of software in this case, right? This is, first of all, everything it is. And then there is a list of known exploited vulnerabilities. That means there's another list that contains only CVEs that have been exploited. And then this is very dangerous, right? And then I also have a score. So that means there are some that are not really critical. And then there are some of them that are really critical, like Log4j, the stuff that we saw. And you can read that up. Everything is documented in the so-called NVD, which is the National Vulnerability Database, which if you just search for NVD, you can find all the CVEs there with a description, what is the harm they are doing, and all these kind of things. And like I mentioned, with every update of a JDK, of each of the JDKs, you get a list of fixed CVEs with this update. So that means you can really look it up. I think in the advisories, you can even just click on the CVE. It will lead you directly to the NVD page and then will show you everything about this CVE.
So you mentioned every update. If I'm on version 17, am I safe?
Depends. It depends on the update, right? So we have 4 updates a year. And I think it's January, April, July, and October. Or September? No, October is the update. And so that means every 3 months, there is a new updated version of the JDK and JRE, which contains security fixes, right? So, and this is announced publicly, and you should just go there, download the latest version, update your environment everywhere, right? And to make sure everything is secure. Interestingly, most of the developers don't really update to the latest JDK. They have, I have 17, what is it? 3. Yeah, that's fine. It works. Yeah, it works. But still, it's a good idea to keep it up to date. And there are different tools that help you with that, right? You can use SDKman, for example. We have this Disco API that Foojay created where you can get the latest version of all the different distributions. So that means there's not really a big hurdle to just update the JDK. It's for free, it doesn't take long, but people are lazy. That's the biggest problem, I think.
And that's also the distinction between a long-term support version and a short-term. So 17, 21, they keep being updated, and all these ones in between, that stopped somehow?
Yeah, so the idea is you have it's not really official, right? So, but somehow it is, because there are specific versions of OpenJDK builds that get longer support than others. In the past, there was this name like long-term support version, LTS releases, which Oracle said there's no LTS release, but somehow it is. And it started with 8, then we had 11, 17, and then 21. And that means if you, for example, look from 17 to 21, all the versions in between, that means 18, 19, 20, these versions only get support for 6 months. So you get 2 updates and that's it. And after that, you have to switch to the next JDK version to be safe again. Because if you, for example, stick to 18, then 1801, 1802, and that's it. There won't be any security fixes for this 1802 version anymore. So that means if there are any vulnerabilities in this version 18, you have to live with it, right? Or you have to update to the next version, which is 19, and then again 1901, 1902, and then it's 20 or 102, and then it's 21. And 21 get updates, I think, up to 2035 or whatever. So that means if you go to production, always make sure you use a long-term supported version. This is the golden rule, right? So, and you have to really do that, because otherwise bad things can happen, right?
Or if you use a short-term version because you really need that new feature, you also have to keep moving to the next short-term until you're back at the long-term.
Which is really, I mean, for small companies or for developers, it's not a big deal, right? You just download the latest version, install it. Okay. Oh, there's a new JDK. Yeah. Okay. You go from 1802 to 19. No problem. For company, totally different story, right? Some companies, it takes really long because the process internally is not so easy to update all the stuff to the next JDK. Again, in case you need a specific feature from an STS, a short-term support version, then you have to update to all the JDKs up to the next LTS, right? So that's really important, but it's a lot of work, right? So this is, and there's even other policies I heard of, which some companies have the policy, they are not allowed to go to the latest long-term support version, but only to the one before, which comes with totally different problems, right? Because, for example, if you, for example, go with an Oracle JDK, which is free, in production, nice, for 3 years. That means you go to 17 because you are not allowed to go to 21. So then 21 comes out, but this company needs to stay on 17. But as soon as 21 comes out, the license change, right? So suddenly you have to pay for Oracle, which is really a bad thing. So this is stuff you really, I have a session about that because it's really complicated and most people don't know, right? So they say, yeah, it's free. I can use it for free. Yeah, for some time, right? So where, for example, for the Zulu JDKs, we don't have that, right? So you can use Zulu for free, 17, 21, whatever, even in production. But if you would like to have support, you can pay for it. Where with Oracle, they force you to, after 3 years, if you don't go to the latest LTS, you have to buy it, right? So which is, it's a different thing. So, and this is all these things, and other companies do other things, right? I think, I'm not sure if Bellsoft does something similar or other OpenJDK distributions, but as soon as you start paying for support, you have to make sure that you read the license correctly. Yeah.
So one message people should remember is check the version, but check the last number of the version of your Java, right?
Yes, exactly. So check, it's not only the feature version, like 17.21, but check the last one, right? 17.0, 11, 12, whatever, right? This is the important number. And then keep it up to date. That's the biggest thing.
And remember to check it every 3 months.
Yes, you should. Oh, there are tools. I wrote tools. Yeah, right. If you're on Mac, you can use JDK Updater. No, I wrote too because I forget about it, right? So because you have to check, oh, there's a new version available. So I wrote some tools that just remind me that there is a new version. I can just click a button and download it.
Okay. When this becomes a podcast, I will add links to all these tools that people can find them. Okay. Thanks for your time.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I hope it wasn't